and welcome to Your City in Action. Today, we have the wonderful opportunity of speaking with City Commissioner Ms. Kaye Crawford. Hello, Kaye. How are you?
I'm fine, Marnie. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me.
I think it's the first time we've had you on the program.
I may have been on at a earlier time, but as I think back, I think maybe I was at one time, but I've always enjoyed community access and watching you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, and we love watching you every Monday.
Yeah, right.
Well, tell us, what made you want to run for City Commissioner?
Well, I enjoy people, for one thing, and I like to help with community decisions that have to be made, and I feel like I have some experience doing that. I worked for the city for a number of years, and that helps me with knowing the internal process and helping make decisions, and hopefully the community will appreciate that. I hope.
Well, you know they definitely do.
Well,
you wouldn't have gotten elected if they didn't.
Right.
So
well,
that's wonderful. Now tell me, I'm not a native Salinan or Kansan, so are you from Kansas and from Salina?
I'm from Salina, was born and raised in Salina, and moved away for several years. My husband was in the Air Force, and we moved around the country some, not a whole lot. Never got overseas, which I wish now we had of, but he had been overseas a lot of times, but I hadn't. And I came back when he was in Vietnam, and he served a year over there, and I came back to Salina. But yeah, Salina's always been my home, and when he retired from the military, we came back, made our home here.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, because Community Access, we tape all the City Commission meetings, and like I said earlier, we see you at least once a week.
Right, right.
But I always think it's so impressive when the City Commissioners make that decision to serve in that capacity. And you'd said you like to help people, and you have a history working with the City of Salina.
Right.
And what would you say has been probably the most I don't know if unique is the right word, but most interesting or surprising thing before you became a commissioner? Because there's got to be a big difference between being, although you still are a citizen, but citizen in Salina, but to becoming a city commissioner.
Well, I think a lot of people know me just because they knew me when I worked for the city, and they knew me prior to working for the city because I grew up here. Then when I was elected, I was elected in 2011, and I got a 2-year term, and then I was re-elected 2 years later to a 4-year term. So I think people don't always know their city commissioners, and so it's always kind of surprising to me that I think as long as government kind of goes along smoothly and there are no real big ups and downs, people don't pay too much attention. It's just when things are going badly that they realize that they need to pay attention, and that's when they get acquainted with you. So I think people oftentimes don't. We wish people would come to meetings and would participate more, but everybody's so busy these days they don't have the time. But when they do find out you're a city commissioner, many times then you'll find out what they would like to have or what they'd like to see in the community, and that's very helpful. I've often thought, people say, well, you must get a lot of telephone calls. Well, really not. And I really kind of wish we would get more, because we get some messages, email messages and things like that, but we really need to know what the community wants and needs, and we don't always get that. So if you're out there and you're hearing me say this, email the city manager's office. They'll make sure we get those, and we'll know what you're thinking and how you feel.
And you kind of read my mind, because I wonder, can you just go to the grocery store and be anonymous, or do people often stop you?
No, people don't. For the most part, people don't really know that you're doing anything different or special, and for the most part, I don't think people. I think the ones that really there's always a group of people who know what's going on at all times, and they're very informed, and they know what's going on in the community, and those are the people that we hear from, and they know you, of course, when they see you. And it's always kind of a nice feeling because they know what you're doing, and they'll thank you, or you get the other earful when they're not happy with you. So it just happens. That's just part of it. And you kind of let things roll off your back and do the best you can, because all any of us can do in life is just do the very best we can and hope everything turns out okay.
Definitely.
So that's what we do.
Now, again, because I'm on the opposite end of the city commission room, like you said, it is interesting to me sometimes where not as many people maybe attend the meetings, and I always find it interesting, and maybe you do too. Sometimes I hear comments where people don't feel like the city informs them very well, and I don't agree with that. I mean, in the paper, first off, it always mentions the meetings and the study sessions, and maybe like what you said. It's just if something happens to pertain to that person, then they take interest.
Yeah, I think it's when people become interested when it's some specific thing that they're interested in. Otherwise, as long as things go along fairly smoothly, they don't worry about it. But when something comes up that they're particularly interested in, that's when they'll get involved. And many times the commission room is full of people, and then you know that they know what's going on and they want action or inaction. One of they want something to happen that they want. So, and we're always glad to hear that. I'm always particularly impressed when people come to the commission. I mean, it makes me feel like, and I think the other commissioners probably too, makes me feel like it's worthwhile doing what we're doing because they're there and they're listening, and so we do our best. The other part of that is we don't just meet at 4 o'clock. We have a study session, and if you can't make it to the formal meetings, try to make it to the study sessions. They're usually at 2:30, and actually that's where the work gets done because we agree by consensus there. And that's where sometimes we disagree. By the time it gets to the formal meeting at 4 o'clock, those agreements and those decisions are usually made. So if you really want to be there when everyone is making the decision that might affect you, you should come to the study session.
Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, we do have some long hours on Monday, and sometimes we have executive sessions after the commission meeting, and that'll run till sometimes 7 or 8 o'clock. So,
did that surprise you when you first became a city commissioner? I know you knew about the study session, but just maybe the length. Were you, or did you kind of expect it?
Well, I think we've had longer commission meetings. This particular commission, because everybody's pretty talkative and everybody is interested and everybody has an opinion, which is good. But yeah, it does make for a long commission meeting. So I think we're a little bit longer on our meetings than what is normal, but that's okay because everybody's talking about what they're interested in and trying to get input from the community. So,
does it ever surprise you sometimes when people have the opportunity and come forward at public forum and they come to the podium? Are you ever shocked?
No, not really. I just think it's great when they get up and say whatever they have to say, and no matter who it is or what they have to say, it's important because they took the effort, made the effort to, first of all, to come to the meeting, and secondly, to get to the podium and say what they think. And I think that's very serious, and we take it seriously because it's kind of overwhelming for that person to come up to the podium and say what they think. And I admire anybody that does that, and I wish more people would do it.
Definitely. Yeah, it does. I know what you mean as far as I've never, spoken at a city commission meeting, but I can imagine just because the way the room is set up,
right.
city staff on either side, and then the city commissioners,
right.
and you're right, it does take a lot of courage for people to do that.
It does.
And it is important that people do take that seriously, and I think it's really wonderful that the city allows that.
Right.
Because if they didn't,
yeah.
how could you give? I mean, you still could give your input, but
but you could give and the study session. We always have a time for them at the study session too. At the end of the study session, there's 15 minutes allowed for anyone to say anything they want to, and that's a good time. And then they can go out publicly before access cameras and say what they think too. So there's plenty of time for people to have input, I think. And then, of course, they can always email the city manager's office or call the city manager's office, and they'll get the information to the city commissioners.
That is awesome. Now, we touched on this just a little bit, but tell me, because a lot of times, again, sometimes people maybe are misinformed or don't understand. And we had talked a little bit earlier about the whole process of being mayor, because you'd shared a little earlier how people maybe always wonder about that.
Well, everything at the city is a process, including the mayor. Usually, there's always 2 members of the commission that are experienced members. Mm-hmm. Then there's 3 at the next election. I believe there'll be Aaron Householder if he runs again, Barb Shirley if she runs again, and Randall Hardy. Mm-hmm. So they will be up for re-election if that's what they want. But there's always 2 there that have been there a while and kind of know what's going on. And the process of being mayor is it's simply whoever garners the most votes. Mm-hmm. So if, like for instance, when I was first elected in 2011, there were 3 of us running, as there always is. 2 got the most votes. One was Barb Shirley, and the other one was Aaron Householder. I always kid Aaron, he beat me by 69 votes. So if he hears this, he's going to say, there you go again. But anyway, and then I was 3rd, and I got a 2-year term, and that's the way it works. The first highest number of votes, 2 people with highest number of votes get 4-year terms, and the 3rd person gets a 2-year term. Well, the ones who get the 4-year terms, they'll always be mayor. The 2-year term will not be mayor. Mm-hmm. That's the process. Then the next election, when I was re-elected, and I received a 4-year term, I think John Blanchard received a few more votes than I did, and so he will be the next mayor, and then I'll be the mayor. So people don't understand the way that works, and it's not because the city decides who's going to be the mayor, or Jason Gage. That doesn't work that way. And we don't vote on who the mayor is. It's just a process, and it goes by the number of votes that person received. And right now, Randall Hardy would not be mayor because he's on a 2-year term. If he gets reelected to a 4-year term, then he will be mayor at some point. So I think it's interesting, and I think it's good for people to know how that works, because every now and then people come up to me and say, you've been on there a long time. How come you're not mayor? Well, because there's a process. And to stop and explain it all is in the grocery store or wherever. I just say, well, I will be eventually, and let it go at that. So,
are you excited to be mayor?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think everybody thinks it's kind of a kick to be mayor, and there's some things that the mayor does, and I mean, the mayor leads the commission, so it's a serious it's a serious thing to be mayor because they're the leader in the community. They sign a lot of papers. Good thing if you just have a short signature because you sign a lot of papers. But yeah, it's always kind of fun I think, to be the leader, and hopefully I'll get there eventually.
It'll be very cool. I think it's so sweet how Mayor Householder. Oh boy, was he excited to be.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen anyone be so excited.
Yeah, he's really kind of like a kid. He's really enjoying it, and that's good. I think Aaron's a good, I should say, commissioner. He's very good at leading the commission, and I think he's kind of speeding it along and getting us out of there a little earlier, hopefully. But he's very thoughtful and very, very intelligent and does a good job, very good job.
What has it been like working with the different personalities? Because one of the things I think it's so interesting about this commission is everybody is so diverse, and like you said, everybody is very talkative, but not in a bad way. I mean, just everybody contributes, and I don't know. It's not like you all totally agree on everything, and sometimes you do. But to me, it just seems like there's just a nice diversity and a lot of different ideas and are well represented. Do you feel that way?
I think this is a good commission. I guess I probably wouldn't be the one to be the judge of that because I'm on the commission. But it's been very easy to work with this commission. It's a little bit long sometimes because everybody has an opinion and expresses the opinion, but that is what we're voted in to do. So, but yeah, I think it has been an interesting commission, and everybody says what they think, and there is a pretty good diversity of opinion. So I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it, and I think the others on there have enjoyed being on there and for the most part participate in everything. And we all went out and did a Big Brothers Big Sisters bowl-a-thon thing, and it was fun. We had a good time together, but you have to be really careful when you're commissioner because everything is we have to be very careful of open meetings, and we never talk to each other. That's the other thing I might explain. Commissioners aren't allowed to talk to each other during the week. Call up one and say, how are you going to vote on this or that? That's absolutely would be a violation of open meetings. So we have to be very careful of that. Whenever we're together, in any respect, the public or the media is always notified, and because we can't make those decisions, that would be a violation. And I think everybody's been very good about that and respectful of that process.
What would you say if you had to describe so far your experience as a city commissioner? What would be like? And I still love me after I ask this. 3 words that would maybe describe your experience so far.
Oh, 3 words.
I know, those questions.
Yeah.
I didn't warn her about this.
No, she didn't.
Just on the spur of the moment.
3 words. I don't know if I can get it down to 3 words.
That's okay.
I think a great staff. That would be, is that 3 words? We have a great staff at the city. Very professional. There's no questions that you can't, as a commissioner, you can't go ask one of the department heads. They're very helpful. That's not 3 words, but
that's okay.
A great staff, I guess. And that helps the commissioners a whole lot.
Oh, I bet. And how is the commission's relationship with the city manager, with Jason Gage? Because I would assume that's something maybe people don't understand. Because I know when I first moved here, I was a little uncertain about the role of the city manager versus the city commission and the mayor. It just wasn't really clear to me until I started doing the meetings.
Right. Well, I think we have a really good, I think he's a very good manager, and he brings things to us that are, actually the department heads bring things to him. He gets that all together and brings them to us. And that's the process, and it seems to work very well. And I believe he has a lot of integrity and is a very, very good manager. And I don't think that the commission could operate without a good management person to take care of all that, because we don't micromanage. We just make those decisions that are important decisions, mostly budgetary decisions, and of course we take the heat if we make a mistake. But no, I think Jason Gage does a very, very good job. And I remember as a staff member that when I was on staff that he was excellent to work for. So I don't have any problem with that. And I don't know how, I can't speak for the other commissioners. I just don't know how they feel, but I think they know that Jason does a good job, great job.
You know, as from an observer, the relationship seems very, like you said, very professional and a lot of respect on all sides.
Right.
And, you know, I think it's really good for people in the community to see, you know, there's not a lot of turnover in city staff at all. You always see the same. I mean, since I've been at Access, I can't really think of there hasn't been a high turnover, and that speaks so well of the city of Salina, the commission, the city manager.
It does, especially speaks well of the city manager, because they have to think, they have to feel that what they do is important, and they're very knowledgeable. I don't know a department head that I wouldn't feel very comfortable with taking an issue to, because they deal with those issues all the time. I just think that they do a great job. And yes, you're right. There's very little turnover as far as in the department head positions. Speaks well.
Very much.
Speaks well.
Very much.
Yes.
So do you have, is it, your term ends, when does your term end again? You said that earlier.
Well, let's see.
Because you were first elected in 2011.
I was elected in 2011 for a 2-year term, and then I was re-elected this last year. So I'll have 4 years to go. And then there'll be an election, I believe, this coming spring in April. And that will be, as I said before, I believe Aaron will be up for re-election if he decides to run, Barb Shirley and Randall Hardy. So,
is it too soon to tell if you'll run for re-election again, or is it for you, or is it a little too early to tell?
I don't know what I want to do. I'm enjoying it, and I think I'll just go along day to day and do the best I can for the community. But I do encourage people to get in touch with their commissioners and to tell us what you think, because we had a series of meetings here a while back, and I was so disappointed that people didn't turn out for them. And because of that, we've gotten, or we're in the process of hiring a community engagement person that will hopefully get out and engage the community in some of these decisions and get ideas from what the community really wants. That's one of the hardest things, is knowing what the community really wants. And we don't know unless you come to us or you come to the city manager's office. Let somebody know what you think. That's the only way we know. So, and we're making decisions daily, and those decisions depend upon public input. So I think the community engagement officer will be a great help in that regard. I'm hoping that person will be. So
definitely. Good. Well, you know, Kaye, I really so appreciate you coming on the program and chatting with you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
And, you know, again, I guess I have a bias because, you know, Access, I mean, I personally covered the meetings for years, and other staff members, and I still do as well, but it really has been a very pleasant experience. And,
good.
And I will say, this commission has had a little longer meetings. We have changed our replay time, but that's okay. You guys have important things to say.
I think you used to start replay
Tuesday,
at 8 o'clock or
on
something.
Tuesday morning. We now do 7, just in case.
At 7, because
just in case.
Our commission meetings run a long time. But, you know, at least we're all talking.
Yes.
And we're discussing things, and we don't just rubber stamp the things that come before us. We talk it out. And I think that's very important.
Definitely, because sometimes I hear people sometimes make the comment, oh, well, they already have their minds made up for the meeting.
No.
Not
this commission.
No. That at least, I can't speak for the commission, but that's not my perception at all. I've definitely seen, like you say, that you guys have really good discussion. You ask a lot of really good questions.
Right. We do, and there's enough diversity on the commission that we have different kinds of. We come at things in a different way than. So, I think that people just need to come and get engaged with the commission and find out what's going on and have their say, and we pay attention to you. We certainly don't dismiss anybody. We want your input, and I'm a process person because I know the process of the commission. I know that when you get 3 new commissioners, it takes a while for them to get involved. For them to understand how it all works. And it's kind of, it's a little bit overwhelming when you first get on the commission because you think you're never going to learn all this stuff. But you do. And it probably takes 6 months for a new commissioner to get kind of into it and then to really be knowledgeable. So a 2-year commissioner has learned a lot and spent a lot of time learning it. So, but anyway, I thank you for having me, and I hope I've been helpful. And I hope the community I hope the community will listen and understand what I'm saying, and I hope I've said it in a way that will help them understand the process of the commission.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. You're always such a joy, and we'll have to have you back.
Well, thank you, Marnie. I'll come back.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kaye.
Thank you. All right.
And thank you so much for watching.